What's up, lovely people? How are we today? So in this video, I want to talk about passions. What are we passionate about? What do we want to be more passionate about? And how can we bring more passion into our lives? So if you know anything about me, or if you're anything like me, you have multiple passions. Now, a lot of people would consider this to be somebody with ADD, ADHD, but I don't really believe in labels. So with that being said, you don't have to agree or disagree with that. Maybe you like identifying as somebody who has ADHD, but I personally think that that is a superpower. So we're allowed to have multiple passions. We're allowed to not tip our tea over as we talk with our hands, but we're allowed to like different things. So in the comments below, I'd love for you to tell me, what are some of your passions? What are you passionate about? What do you love? Or maybe even what do you hate? Because all of those things make up who you are. So for instance, lately, throughout this past year, I have been gravitating more towards astrology. And there's a reason for that. I'll get to that in a minute. But before that, it was all about swimwear and building my swimwear business. And how can I create a community and how can I create opportunities for girls to model and to grow their social media presence without having an established brand for themselves. So I did, if you know anything about the brand, it's Megan May Miami. That was my swimwear brand. And I did nationwide and actually international model searches for girls to come into one place and audition to be able to walk in Miami Swim Week. So I love that I was able to do that for girls and also create an affiliate program for them so that they could wear the swimsuits and promote it on their social media and be able to create and get commission from all of the swimwear that they sold themselves. So swimwear, one passion. Astrology, another passion. I also am obsessed with reading different books on self-development, from neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, you name it, growing a business. I love multiple passions. So what does all this mean, and what does it mean to you? I want you to feel that if you haven't given yourself permission to love more than one thing, that this is your permission slip, because we are told so often that you have to niche down, that if you're going to grow a personal brand, that you have to be specific and talk about one specific thing over and over and over again. Well, they say that, but then they also talk badly about people that have ADHD. And I think that you can build your own brand by pulling in all of your passions, pulling in everything that excites you and that you love. And that's you, that's your brand. You are the niche. And so I love spirituality. I also love material things, as you can see behind me. Also love piano, also love fitness. And so I am just saying that I'm over the thought that we have to pick one thing. I mean, I had a YouTube coach and he told me that I needed to niche and pick one thing, or else I would have to start 3 YouTube channels. And so that's exactly what I did. And with that being said, of course I learned a lot, and I learned that it's really hard to upkeep 3 channels. And I just think that where we are in today's day and age is we don't need to pick one lane. We don't need to pick one thing that we're passionate about and only talk about that. So let me know as well, like what are you passionate about right now currently? The reason I've been so into astrology is because the world as we know it is changing so rapidly that it just feels like we need to have a certain grounding, a certain floor of where do we stand, and so that as things are changing all around us with all the input from social media, all of the input from different people's opinions and the world news, is for me, I wanted to find more of a footing for myself. And that's where spirituality and astrology come into play. I do believe in a higher power. I was raised Christian and I still believe in Jesus Christ. And I also believe that God is within. I believe that the more internal we become, the more we seek answers from within, the more we sit and meditate and quiet our minds, the more we are connected to our source, our creator. So astrology is a map of it's like literally a reflection in the sky of what is happening here on Earth. So I do follow a few astrologers that kind of do like a play-by-play of what's going on astrologically right now. And if you're somebody that's like, I don't believe in astrology, well, even if you don't believe in astrology because of the Gregorian calendar and all of those things, there's still an aspect of astronomy. And even if you don't believe in the astrology, you still were born at a specific time in time, a specific time. And I believe that you are a snapshot of the universe in that moment in time. So the planets still were where they were in the sky when you were born. Therefore, you can follow astrology to be able to get that snapshot of your life, the snapshot of when you were born, and be able to, I don't really love the word predict, but you're able to understand yourself more from a personality perspective. But then you're also able to understand through looking at transits where you are in your life. So maybe you feel like you're lacking clarity, or maybe you are just feeling really stuck in your life. You can check your transit chart and see that, oh yeah, hey, my Saturn is transiting my 12th house. 12th house is about the subconscious. 12th house is about the beliefs, the subconscious beliefs that are running our lives. So that's actually where I'm at right now, is Saturn is going through my 12th house, and I feel going through really setting boundaries with people, really uncovering those limiting beliefs for myself, and reworking my sense of foundation within myself, so that whenever Saturn or whenever it's going over my first house, that I'm able to have this unshakable foundation where no one's opinion, good or bad, can mess with my sense of self. And I can say that because I know that everyone goes through that. Whether you're on social media, have a social presence, or it's your neighbors and you're thinking about your neighbors are talking smack about you or something. So that's one passion, and then that's really why I love studying astrology right now. And let me know as well in the comments below, what is your sun, moon, and rising? I'm very curious about that. So I just wanted to come on and catch up for a minute. Let me drink my tea. So a quote that I read, I don't know where it was from, but it was essentially about, we will always eventually come back to the things that light us up the things that lit us up as a child. I can find the quote and put it up here, but essentially it's, we will always come back to the things that lit us up as a child. So I want you to think back to when you were a kid, maybe like 7, 8 years old. What were you doing? What were you focused on? What were you playing with? What did you want to be? What did you talk about? I remember when I was 7 or 8 years old, I would actually draw, and I would draw these aliens, believe it or not. And it was on a stage. I would draw like these girls with 3 or 4 eyes, and they were just singers. It was like a girl band, and they all had their hair in wild ways. And that's actually how I always did my hair, is I would have one bun up in the side like this and the other half down, or like pinned straight. I'd put beads in my hair or braids. I loved expressing myself creatively, and I loved being different than everyone else. So I would draw, and these girls had microphones in their hands, and they had that third eye or 4, and I didn't even know about the third eye or the intuitive and the chakra system. I didn't know about any of that at the time. So it's just interesting that I was creating those drawings. But I also loved dancing, and I loved making up dances for other people and bringing them in and teaching them. So, and I loved singing. I loved creating. It was pretty much that, like dance. I liked singing, and I liked performing. And it just so happens that now I actually found a circus school here in Miami, believe it or not, and I am doing ballet again. I am taking a jazz class, which actually it's a little bit more, reminds me of kind of like Magic Mike style, but we'll call it jazz for now. And so it's that, as well as handstand classes and tumbling. So that's all the stuff that it just so happens that that's the stuff I loved to do as a kid. So with that being said, I want you to think about and pay attention to what brings you joy, what lights you up, and then continue to go down that path. Because I think if you are feeling stuck, you can check out astrology, check out your transit chart, maybe hire an astrologer, and see where you are in your life. Like sometimes being stuck doesn't mean you're actually stuck. Sometimes it's an invitation to go within and talk to your inner child and to stir up that joy again and to cultivate that joy that you had as a kid. And maybe it's revisiting limiting beliefs that you have and doing shadow work. That what I'm realizing is we don't have to always have the answer right here and right now. That sometimes if things feel murky or cloudy or just uncertain, that is our invitation to go within and to talk with our creator and to create more of a relationship with ourselves, with silence, and being okay with being bored, and being okay with exploring the unknown, whether that is through journaling or meditation or shadow work or hiring a coach. Seeing, getting different perspectives and exploring the fun things that you used to do as a kid. So, because if we're always focused on moving forward or always moving the needle, sometimes we're missing the point. That it's not always about going forward and moving the needle, but sometimes it's also about enjoying the process and bringing that childlike joy along with you on the ride. So all of that is to say is follow your passions, explore them, see what you like doing. We are human beings. We are multifaceted. We are not one thing. I made a different video on identity. I believe that we have multiple personalities, that we are supposed to be dynamic human beings. We don't, especially us females, we are not supposed to be the same person every day of the month. We're just not. There's sometimes our phase is we are in a bitchier mode, like our luteal phase right before we have our period. It's bitch mode, right? And when you're in winter, your period, you are more internal. Spring is you are getting more creative, more ideas are starting to flow through. And then summer, ovulatory phase, we are just at our heightened self, where we look our best, our face is the most balanced, we're glowing from within, we want to talk to people. We're different. We're multifaceted, and we're allowed to have different passions, and we're allowed to bring that creativity and bring that passion to the world. I think that as the world gets faster and faster, we are allowed to become and express this dynamic, all the dynamic parts of ourselves, instead of just thinking that we are this 2D, this two-dimensional photograph of the best moment of that week. So hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration to follow your passions. Comment them down below. I would love to read and see what you guys are passionate about currently. And thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like this, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.